Episode 2: Global Trade Finance Letters of Credit, Bank Guarantees, and Standby (LGS). Section 1: Executive Hooks and Product Taxonomy. Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. International commerce is fundamentally an exercise in navigating structural asymmetry and counterparty distrust. When a corporate buyer in North America possesses $50 million worth of specialist industrial machinery from an exporter in Asia or Europe, the transaction encounters the classic cross-border trade dilemma. The exporter demands guaranteed payment priority to manufacture and dispatch to mitigate sovereign performance and credit risk, while the importer refuses to release working capital without definitive verification that the underlying cargo has been produced, inspected, and shipped by strictly to contract specification. In the absence of established credit history or within volatile macro environment, conducting cross-border trade on pure open account terms exposes suppliers to catastrophic default risk, while cash in advance (CIA) terms paralyze the buyer's working capital and transfer all operational performance risk onto the pursuing balance sheet. Global trade finance bridges this commercial trust gap by substituting corporate commercial credit risk with the primary irrevocable payment undertaking of the institutional financial institution. Corporate banking products provide the contractual, structural, and financial architecture that powers over 80% of world merchandise trade. The institutional trade finance product suite is anchored by three primary instruments: commercial letter of credit, document credit, a formal, irrevocable undertaking issued by a financial institution, the issuing bank, on behalf of the corporate buyer, the applicant, obligating the bank to make immediate payment or accept negotiable drafts to the seller, the beneficiary, provided that the seller presents an exact, strictly compliant set of commercial and shipping documents. Independent bank guarantees, unconditional or conditional demand undertakings issued by a guarantor bank securing an underlying contractual performance obligation. Guarantees are structurally classified by operational stage with bonds, tender guarantees, advance payment guarantees, performance guarantees, and retention money guarantees. Standby letters of credit (SBLC) originating predominantly with United States banking conventions, while regulatory framework historically restricted banks from issuing classical commercial guarantees. The SBLC serves as a flexible documentary based contingent payment backstop, unlike a commercial letter of credit, which is designed as the primary payment engine for a successful transaction. An SBLC functions as a secondary default contingent instrument drawn down primarily in the event of the applicant's contractual or financial non-performance. These instruments do not operate in a legal vacuum. They are codified and governed globally by uniform institutional rulebooks established by the International Chamber of Commerce (ICC), the Uniform Customs and Practice for Documentary Credits (UCP 600), the International Standby Practice 1998 (ISB 98), and the Uniform Rules for Demand Guarantees (UADG 758), mastering the interplay between legal rules, credit underwriting, balance sheet commitment structures, and discrepancy management is non-negotiable for enterprise treasurers, global procurement directors, and structured trade financiers. Section 2. Core Operational and Financial Mechanics. The Documentary Lifecycle (OSCP 600) framework, a standard commercial letter of credit transaction executes through a multi-party operational circuit involving four primary entities: the applicant buyer, the issuing bank, the advising confirming bank, and beneficiary seller. The transactional workflow follows a rigorous operational protocol. 1. Contract facility booking. The buyer and seller execute a commercial sales agreement stipulating payment via an irrevocable documentary letter of credit. The buyer submits a letter of credit application to its issuing bank utilizing its committed trade finance credit line for posting as collateral, issuance, and authentication. The issuing banks conducts anti-money laundering, Office of Foreign Assets Control (OFAC), sanction screening, and trade compliance checks on all transaction counterparties, vessel names, and ports. It constructs and transmits a structured SWIFT MP700 issues of a documentary credit message to the advising bank located in the seller's domestic markets. Advising and confirmation. The advising bank verifies the cryptographic authenticity of the MP700. If requested by the beneficiary, the advising bank or a third-party prime bank adds its confirmation. By confirming the letter of credit, the confirming bank adds its own independent, irrevocable commitment to pay the beneficiary, absorbing all sovereign transport and insolvency risk associated with the issuing bank. Manufacturing shipment and documentation. The beneficiary manufactures the good and delivers them to the carrier secure a clean, negotiable transport document, typically a negotiable marine ocean bill of lading, considered to order of the issuing bank to preserve title security. Presentation and strict compliance examination. The beneficiary completes the exact documentary package mandated by the letter of credit, signed commercial invoice detailing description, unit price, and intercontracts. Full set clean on board marine bills of lading endorsed in bank. Marine cargo insurance policy or certificate covering a minimum of 120% of chief value on the institute cargo clauses. Third-party certificate of quality or quantity, and certificate of origin, examination and settlement. Under ECP 600 Article 14, the nominated or confirming bank and issuing bank have a maximum of 5 banking days following presentation to examine documents. Under the legal doctrines of strict compliance, document must mirror the credit terms perfectly. If perfectly, if compliant, the bank executes settlement. SEC-LC instant electronic wire settlement within standard clearing cycles. Usage acceptance letter of credit. The bank formally accepts a time draft bill of exchange or issues a deferred payment undertaking, legally committing to settle at maturity. This contains for fighting. The beneficiary can at maturity 60 day, 120 day, or 180 days from the bill of lading date. Discounting and forfeiting. The beneficiary can discount the accepted deferred payment undertaking with the confirming bank without results converting term receivable into immediate liquidity. Demand guarantees and standby letters of credit BIDC 758 ESP 98. While commercial letter of credit serve as payment execution vehicles, bank guarantees and SBLC serve as structural risk allocation instrument across complex procurement and construction contracts. The fundamental distinction governing this instrument lies in the principle of independence autonomy. Under URDG 758, Article 5 and ESP 98, a guarantee or SPLC is completely independent of the underlying commercial contract. The guarantor bank is in no way concerned with or bound by the underlying project dispute. In an on-demand unconditional guarantee, the banks must honor of demand for payment upon the beneficiary first written demand containing a compliant statement of default without requiring judicial intervention, arbitral awards, or the consentation of the underlying applicant. In a direct SPLC, the beneficiary presents a draft, a copy of the unpaid commercial invoice, and formal certification of default of SWIFT MT 7060 to trigger an immediate payout. Section 2. Underwriting legal text and covenant framework. Credit underwriting and off-balance sheet risk allocation. From a corporate banking underwriting perspective, trade finance instruments are treated as unfunded off-balance sheet contingent liabilities. However, under prudential banking, regulation Basel III and Basel IV. These facilities require strict capital allocation. When structuring trade finance limits for corporate borrowers, credit risk committees evaluate four core dimensions: underlying self-liquidation. A commercial trade letter of credit is structurally superior to a clean corporate revolving line because it is self-regulating. The issuing bank retains consultative control over the physical cargo via the negotiating the bill of lading. If the buyer defaults upon arrival of the vessel, the banks are exercise its pledge over the legal documents. That is the transaction of this therefore liquidities on the open commodity or secondary wholesale market. Facilities structuring and borrowing limits. Bank establish committed, uncommitted, or revolving trade finance facilities. These include sub-limits for letter credit issuance, letter of credit confirmation, deferred payment acceptance, SPLC guarantee insurance, and import-export financing loans, trust receipts. Financial covenant. Corporate credit agreements incorporating significant trade lines and for specific liquidity and leverage covenant. Total debt to EBITDA maximum. Direct financial expenses and drawn import loans are fully consolidated into total funded debt calculation. Current ratio or quick ratio minimum. Ensure working capital adequacy to cover maturing usance obligation. Tangible net worth threshold protects against capital depletion from trade losses. Clean down periods requires revolving trade lines to be fully cash out or zeroed out for a continuous 30-day windows annually to prevent permanent structural debt conversion. Legal doctrine and fraud exception. Trade finance jurisprudence has up to foundational pillars established through centuries of international commercial case law. The strict compliance standard under UCP 600 Article 14 data in a document when read in context with the credit, the document itself, and international standard banking practice ESBP 745 need not be identical to, but must not conflict with data in that document, any other stipulated document, or the credit. Any minor discrepancy, such as a typographical error, incomplete description, unexpired letter shipping that an incompetent document on a bill of lading or a late presentation by on 21 days from the date of shipment entitles the issuing bank to reject documents and refuse payment under Article 16. The fourth exception, staging doctrine, the only legal mechanism capable of placing the autonomy of an irrevocable letter of credit or on-demand guarantee is the fraud exception, codified originally in the landmark United States case. Staging v. Henry Schroeder Banking Corp. If an applicant discovered that the beneficiary has engaged in intentional and egregious fraud, such as presenting forged bills of lading for non-existent cargo or shipping worthless copies instead for goods, the applicant may petition a court of competent jurisdiction to issue an injunction stop payment order restraining the bank from honoring the draft. However, the legal threshold for proving fraud is extraordinarily high. Courts will not grant injunction for mere breaches of warranty, quality disputes, or minor performance defects. Section 4. Real-world case study and implementation. Enterprise profile and transaction acceptable. Consider Eurogrid Infrastructure Limited, a multinational renewable energy engineering, procurement, and construction firm headquartered in Singapore, awarded a $220 million utility-scale solar grid infrastructure project in Western Australia. Step-by-step structured execution. Eurogrid Treasury engages its primary lead global corporate bank in Singapore to structure a comprehensive multi-instrument transfer package. Phase 1. Performance and advance payment security structure. The Singapore-led bank issues 2 cross-border contact standby letters of credit via SWIFT MD-7060, governed by UADG 1758 to an Australian domestic bank in Sydney. Against these contract guarantees, the Sydney bank issued letters local demand guarantees to the Australian project principal $22 million performance guarantee and $11 million advance payment guarantee, satisfying local legal and regulatory requirements without locking up Eurogrid's basic cash in escrow. Phase 2. Import procurement via usage confirmed letter of credit. Eurogrid applied for an $85 million irrevocable confirmed 120-day usage letter of credit covering the UCP 600 issued by the Singapore Bank and advised or confirmed through a top-tier international bank branch in Shanghai. The letter of credit strictly mandate claim on board Ocean bills of lading, factory flash tests, electromechanical inspections, certificates issued by an independent inspection firms, and marine insurance certificates cover 110% safe value under institute cargo clauses. Phase 3. Shipping, acquisition, and usage discontinued pass. The Chinese supplier manufactured the models loaded 1,400 shipping containers across 3 scheduled vessel departures and presented 100% compliant document to the confirming bank in Shanghai within 14 days of the bill of lading dates, rather than waiting 120 days for maturity. The Chinese supplier utilized an integrated usage payable with pass financing feature. The confirming bank discounted the accepted time drafts at the term SOFR 110 basis points, paying the manufacturer immediately on a non-recourse basis. Aero could retain the full 120-day deferred payment window, allowing its eventual reimbursement to the issuing bank with cash receipts from the Australian project principal upon mechanical completion. Financial balance sheet impact. By leveraging documentary credit, architecture, and contract warranty structures, Aero could successfully deliver an 85 billion international procurement cargo without trapping equity cash, while providing the major project owner with bank-backed performance security. Section 5. Strategic takeaway and treasury checklist. Comparative structural metrics. Selecting the appropriate trade finance product requires matching commercial leverage, counterparty risk, and balance sheet costs. The 5-point trade finance execution checklist. To institutionalize risk management and eliminate discrepancies face corporate treasurers in procurement, teams must implement the following operational controls. 1. Pressure issuance document scrubbing. Review performance letter of credit prior to SWIFT every 700 transmission. Ensure all documentary requirements. Precise spelling of entity names in core-term definitions. Except wording of inspection certificates can be strictly produced by the beneficiary and supply chain partners. Sanctions, dual usage goods, and anti-money laundering screening. Screen all shipping lines, vessel IMO numbers, charter party entities, and transshipment ports against active OFAC, Europe Union, and United Nations sanction lists. Verify that underlying commodities do not violate dual-use technology export control regulation. On negotiation and governing rules. Insist on incorporating standard ICC frameworks in all transaction contracts. Mandate UCP 600 for commercial credits, BRDG 758 for demand guarantees, and ESP 798 for standby credits. Explicitly exclude municipal laws that allow arbitrary local injunction, underwriting limit, and covenant alignment. Monitor aggregate trade contingent exposure against overall syndicated credit agreement definitions, ensure that uncommitted trade lines are properly backed by contingent credit enhancement, and track usage maturities against the corporate liquidity ladder. Discrepancy prevention protocol establish a centralized trade operation review desk, track common presentation errors such as late shipment, stale transport documents, insurance coverage gaps, or non-conforming cargo descriptions to ensure presentation within the standard 21-day presentation windows and avoid costly bank discrepancy fees or payment delays. Episode conclusion and preview. Global trade finance converts counterparty uncertainty into institutional security by mastering the operational precisions of UCP 600, ASP 98, and URDG 758. Corporate treasures protect enterprise capital, optimize cross-border supply chains, and unlock liquidity across global trade corridors. We will break down payable discounting structures, the critical accounting debate regarding off-balance sheet trade payables versus bank debt reclassification under IFRS and US GAAP, days payable outstanding optimization, and Tier 1 or Tier 2 supplier financing mechanics. Thank you for watching this video and share next video in my YouTube channel.